are live. Welcome everybody. Happy Saturday. If you can hear me okay, please put a 1 in the chat. Make sure my settings are good. Mic check. Mic check. Perfect. All right. Let's see. All right. Starting off about 100 people in here. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. For anybody who's new to the channel, welcome. I am Chris with Monsters Under Our Bed. We cover true crime, mystery to the missing. Today's show, we were doing a couple of things. Part of the show, we are going to be talking about Idaho4. My last show yesterday, we broke down some audio. I believe that we could hear the DoorDash driver. And anyway, I told you guys that I would try to break it down some more, and I discovered some very interesting things because you can hear cars in the background at certain points, and I think that it's a certain road that the vehicle's sound is coming from, considering from where the camera's at, which can tell us a lot of things, and we'll kind of explain that once I get the video going. The other part of the video, or today's show I should say, is a mod appreciation. So this channel been going on for 2 years now, and we wouldn't be able to do that without the wonderful community, and we wouldn't have a wonderful community without the mods that we have. So a huge shout out to Dee, Jennifer, Karen, Jocelyn, Michaela, and I know I'll probably forget a name. I think I named all of them. Jocelyn, Jennifer, Dee, Karen, Copper Horse. Yes, I think I got them all. So thank you guys so much. I will show you guys. So if you want, it'd be really awesome. I don't ever really ask for donations, but they do help. But if you do donate, part of the donations will be going towards the mods. I am sending them out a couple of gifts, which I will show here in just a bit. But I want to wait until there's some more people in here before we do it. So probably in about 10 minutes, we'll do the mod appreciation, show the gifts, because Jennifer, she has something she has to do. So we'll do that in about 10 minutes. But so we'll start out with the latest updates from Idaho4, which is the demolition of the home, which I think is a huge no-no, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people would agree. And we're going to show some examples of a prior case where, the jurors got to go see a crime scene, and it really helped solidify the theories, not theories, but ideas of what they were thinking. And anyway, so we're going to show some examples of that and why I think it's a terrible idea. So just checking chat. Looks good. So yeah. About 10 minutes, we'll do the mod appreciation, but we'll start out with just the latest updates from the house, mod appreciation, and then we're going to jump into the new audio stuff that I discovered, which I'm really excited to show. Been working on it for the last 2 days.
Kohberger's defense team wants to visit the home one more time. So, to talk about this, the trial, and specifically the defense team's...
Let me pause this. Let me bring this over. So here's just a small news clip of some of the updates, just in case you're not up to date on Idaho4 as far as what's going on with the latest details. And the big one is, they were going to demolish the house back in, oh God, when was it? Like during summertime or something like that? Remind me when, or was it before that even? I think it was around summertime. Anyway, somewhere around in there, they were going to demolish it, and then they decided not to. Which made sense because the trial was going to start in October, so, why not keep it up? And then, of course, the speedy trial got pushed, got put aside, and now we're back to possible demolition of, they're saying December 28th, so that's right around the corner. So I'll play the news clip here and get to chat.
Visit to the house on King Road. We're going to be joined right now by our friend, legal analyst, criminal defense attorney, Nicole DeBoard, and she joins us. And Nicole, thanks for being with us here. We rely on your expertise and insight so much in the Kohberger case. Now, My question to you is, why would the defense need to visit the home one final time before it gets demolished? Strategically speaking, what is in it for them to do that?
Just sometimes being in the physical space is incredibly helpful. And they're going to be the last time. If the home is going to be destroyed, they will never, of course, be able to access that space again. You can look at pictures, but it's just not the same as being there. The things that you can notice as you're trying to put the case together are just different than you can possibly tell from photographs. So it's a good idea just to be on the safe side for the defense team. And quite frankly, I feel certain that the prosecution has done the same, to access that scene to make sure that they know what the space feels like. It's hard to get an idea for dimensions when you're.
Okay, so I turned up my audio, so my audio should be at the same level as the video. All right, thank you guys for the update, and thank you, Baby Kisses, for the $5. I'll mention something here in just a minute, let more people roll in. But as you're rolling in, we're just going with the updates, and then we'll get into the audio here in just a bit.
You're not standing in the room, and just look around, take it in, understand exactly where things are in relation to each other.
You say on the safe side, though, I mean, wouldn't they have already gotten everything they need? I mean, what would be, to look for now? It seems like this is somewhat of a, last ditch. Would you describe it that way or no?
I really wouldn't. I don't think that they're looking for a particular piece of information or a particular piece of evidence. I think what they want to make sure that they've done is understand the space, because as trial happens, you're going to have witnesses testify about things that they uncovered at a certain location in the home, or you're going to hear testimony about where things may have happened in the home. And looking at images of it is just not the same as being in the.
So I thought this was kind of interesting. Do you guys remember when they first talked about them tearing down the house? Because one of the one of the things they said was that there was the air was really bad. The jurors might, I can't remember the exact verbatim words, but they said, the chemicals or something that was used in the house could be really bad. You can see the defense team. I mean, I don't see them. I mean, they're about to walk in. I don't see them with masks or anything. Do you guys remember that? That was kind of part of the excuse or whatever. The reason why, jurors wouldn't want to be allowed in there is because of the chemicals. But looks like all these people are going to walk in there without any masks. Now, I assume they probably tore up a lot of the flooring and took some of the walls out, especially a lot of the flooring. That's what they mentioned prior. I'm assuming because of the blood, and maybe they're testing all the, stuff on the flooring. So I'm sure a lot of that is tore up. Not that they couldn't just put another, temporary floor down. Steve from True Crime Web, he's worked at crime scenes where they would actually makeshift like a kind of like a little platform that goes over. So that way they wouldn't disturb the crime scene, what was on the flooring. Really interesting stuff. So anyway, I'm going to continue to play this. Shout out to LTL True Crime Podcast for the $2. Love your channel. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. If you're rolling in any donations, part of those are going to go towards the gift that I'm giving to my moderators. And we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. And Trisha, happy holidays, Chris. Mods, you are appreciated. Thank you so much, Trisha. You are so awesome.
The physical space, and the attorneys aren't going to be able to do that again once the home is destroyed, of course.
Yeah. So say hypothetically they did find something advantageous or disadvantageous to their case. Will it be admissible, you think?
It possibly could be, but again, I would be surprised if they're actually looking for a piece of evidence or something in particular related to the visit. I suspect they really want to understand, what you can see from one angle if you're standing in one room, what you might be able to hear from one location to the other. They might want to see what the lighting is like inside the house, when the lights are on, when the lights are off. I think there are all kinds of things that you can take in if you're just present in a space, as opposed to relying on someone documenting that space in a.
That would be interesting to know. What was it like at that time? As far as the lighting goes. there's neon signs in there, but yeah, that's a great question.
Report, even with solid measurements, even with the three-dimensional engineering type devices that they have to reconstruct a space, really looking at pictures or secondhand information about what the space is like is, again, just really not the same. It's sort of a second place replacement.
Yeah, we do have a statement in, though, as well from the University of Idaho. Just kind of elucidating this here. I'm going to read it. Teams representing the defense for Bryan Kohberger will access the King Road house today and tomorrow, Thursday, December 14th, and Friday, December 15th. The defense asked University of Idaho in November for access to the house in December as they prepare their case for a trial, the date of which has not been set. The defense indicated they wanted to take photographs, measurements, and possibly gather drone footage.
New at 4, the FBI is in Moscow, Idaho today, back of the home where 4 University of Idaho students from...
So if anyone doesn't know, the prior homeowner, because obviously there was like a homeowner and then they would rent it out to the college students. After the terrible tragedy, the homicides, they gave it to the university. So it's the university that are the ones that are, in control of this house. And I think I have their statement here that's coming up here in just a minute.
Murder nearly a year ago. They'll be there through at least tomorrow, collecting measurements of the home to construct a 3D model. Idaho's former state attorney general believes it will be used for trial. The FBI can't say for sure because it's an ongoing investigation. The suspect in the case, Bryan Kohberger, does not have a new trial date set yet, so investigators are using this additional time to build the models. The university, who now owns the house, originally planned to demolish it this semester, but they're holding off on that for now.
So yeah, this is one of their statements coming from them. Quote, it is, "But the house is a grim reminder of the heinous act that took place here," University President Scott Green said. "While we appreciate the emotional connection some family members of the victims may have to this house, it is time for its removal and to allow the collective healing of our community to continue." So obviously, many conflicted sides on this. I think someone mentioned one family wants it demolished, but I think others, like the Gonsalves, they want it to stay up. They think it's important. And so here, we're going to play just a little bit more, and then I'm going to switch over to the mod appreciation for a few minutes because Jennifer's got a hockey game. So we'll play just a little bit more here. I'm not going to read all this, but this is just a statement by the Gonsalves. I'll read the first part, actually. That's what I wanted to read. Let us ask us, isn't it better to have the King Road house and not need it than need the house and not have it? Which is great. It's a great quote. That has been our question to the prosecution at the University of Idaho for the entire time the demo of the King Road has been an issue. But why is it even up for discussion? This is one of the most horrific crimes in the history of Idaho, and the University of Idaho wants to destroy one of the most critical pieces of evidence in the case. And it is also important to make note that there is now a demolition date, December 28th. That is, 12 days, less than 2 weeks, before even a trial date is set. This alone speaks volumes. So now they're supposedly, even before this came out, they were actually, FBI was going to do, they did a 3D imaging. They went in there. They're supposedly going to make a replica of it, which I think, that's great. But I think the original would be better. So here's just obviously, this is Alex Murdaugh case, and the jurors got to go to the Mosella property. I can't remember which week it was, but I think it was like 1 or 2 weeks before the deliberation. But it was, what was it, like 6 weeks? So I think it was like on the 3rd or 4th week they got to go there, maybe 5th, somewhere around in there. Anyway, here's just a little interview from 2 of the jurors. Actually, 1 juror and then the 3 others. And what they said after they got to see it. But this was one of the interesting things that I wanted to see, because this is where Paul was shot. And it was really important, especially for a few of the jurors, to see this and how small of a space it was. And then, of course, we'll listen to just a short clip from one of the jurors talking about once he saw that, part of the crime scene made sense. And so we'll play that. And then we'll jump over to the mod appreciation for a minute. And then we'll jump to the new stuff that I discovered.
Take you more toward guilty or not guilty, and why?
So again, like I said earlier, I waited until the end to make my decision. But whenever I'm at the end and I'm, thinking about all this evidence, there was parts that I noticed at the Moselle property that, were evident to me that solidified my answer of guilty. There was a lot of question about. So there was a lot of questioning about the second shot to Paul. And to me, the way that it was described and the way that it was portrayed, it just didn't look right. But what did make sense to me, and something that I'd made note of before we went to the Moselle property, because I didn't know that we were going to the Moselle property, but I was curious, is that, for one, I think that he would have been looking at Paul. And whenever we get out there, it's a very tight room. And there is about a 1 to 1.5 inch threshold at the base of that door. I think if he's looking at Paul and he's just shot a buckshot, which if you're not firm, it can rock you pretty good. I think he could have been unbalanced, and I think he could have tripped over that threshold, and that puts him on the ground shooting upward as Paul's coming out. And I think that makes sense to me for the angle of the shot.
Okay, and one more question.
So what's really cool, and all this credit goes to Steve from True Crime Web, which he's actually talking about the Kohberger case at 8 p.m. Eastern, so an hour from when my show started. So after my show, you'll be directed to his show. But anyway, he's a former forensic detective, and well before this interview and just at the beginning of the trial, we tried to break down a scenario of what happened here. And Steve had remembered an incident where he had tripped over a threshold, when he was on duty. And he believes, because what happened here is Paul got shot once, but it wasn't fatal. It shot him in the upper chest. So we believe that when he was shot the first time in Alex's shooting, that would have rocked him, and he would have tripped over this transition, causing him to fall back, which would make sense for the second shot, where it was up at a upward trajectory at an angle. And we believe, and so does the juror, once he saw this transition. And so this is something that we put together with Steve. I just put together a diagram, but we had put this theory together, and that's what the jury,
estate where the crimes took place,
and that specific juror, who actually is like an architect, had noticed. So it was really kind of interesting but that's how important that was for them to see that, to kind of solidify the ideas in their head. And then here's just one more part of 3 jurors just speaking about visiting the crime scene.
Was that worth your time? Was that worthwhile? Did you learn anything from that, James?
Yeah, I think that we were, throughout the case, you kind of see pictures and stuff, but until you get out there, you're not able to really see how everything plays a part. There were a few things that I made mental notes of that I wanted to check out if we did go out there, and I was able to, take a look at that.
What about you, Gwen?
Same here. I wanted to see how big that feed room was, and it was very tiny in person. And I also wanted to see if you could see down there to the feed room, the kennels from the house, and you could.
And see, so for her, what she's mentioning is, because remember, Alex, says he's asleep, when they're supposedly getting attacked. And you know, it does look like it's really far away from the kennels to the house. But when she had seen that, she noticed it's not that far. You can see the lights and everything. So to her, that solidified that, you know, if he was taking a nap, how come he didn't hear, you know, these gunshots and them getting attacked before he went off to his mother's house? So it just shows you how huge it is for them to see the crime scene.
Two of you went back.
So anyway, okay. So I'm going to pause it there real quick because we're going to quickly just show some appreciation to our mods. And then we'll jump over to the new stuff that I discovered, the audio, which I'm really excited. If you were here yesterday, I kind of went back and looked at some of the audio from the Linda Lane footage and kind of discovered some interesting things. Might have, in a theory, I think we could hear what might be the sounds of the DoorDash driver approaching, locking their door, delivering, and then, well, you can't hear him delivering, but then the timing of the car lock beeps, and then we can actually hear a vehicle coming and going, and we'll show that if you missed that yesterday. Michaela, thank you for your hard work, Chris. Thank you, Michaela. Member for 22 months, almost 2 years. Thank you so much for everything you do. You are so awesome. Where am I missing? I see Karen, but I can't see. Oh, there it is. Thanks for giving me the privilege of helping with your live streams and channel for the last 2 years. Love, you are so awesome. Thank you so much. Member for 13 months. Been with me since day one. My first mod ever. So, if you're just coming in, just one more time. Like I said, I don't ever really ask for donations. They come in, that's great. But if you do donate, a part of those will go to the gifts. I'm sending them out gifts, and I'm going to show those gifts right now because some of them have to go. So I was going to do it at the end of the show, but unfortunately not, everybody can stay. So I'm going to show that real quick, and then we're going to get to the new details. So, so for my mods, one of the gifts that I wanted to give them. Now I've got them all each personalized. I didn't get a chance to actually put them on the thing because I'm going to ask which one they want. But so we'll start with our first mod that we had. So this is the design, and the mods are going to choose what they want. If they want this on a coffee cup or, a t-shirt. But I've got one personalized for each mod. So that one is for Karen Lee. Best mod ever. They all say the same thing except they have the, obviously their name. And if they do want to change that, I can change that. But we're going to personalize either a coffee mug or a shirt, depending on what they want, or some other things. Obviously, we have a lot of different things. But let me know what you guys think. But I thought that'd be really cool, like the mugs that say "World's Best Boss." I thought it'd be something like this, and it's got each of our 5 wonderful moderators in this channel, and that's part of one of the gifts that we're giving out. And then we're gonna let them choose, if a coffee mug but I'll reach out to you mods, probably Sunday, and ask you if you guys want, a shirt or a mug or something else. But so yeah, I got them all there, and I'll get with you guys after the show. But like I said, one more time, moderators, they work for free. They don't get paid. So they do this on their free time, and some of them even have jobs and then still do this. And then, like I said, they don't get paid. And there's a lot of channels, not a lot, but there's channels that I know of that don't do anything for their mods. And I wish I made more so I could give them a lot more, but whatever. My channel wouldn't be what it is today without the community we have and without this community, the mods are the best. So please, if you can, if you haven't already, please show your support. Oops. But we'll switch back over here to Idaho, because I know a lot of you are here for that. I think they are tearing it down because they have so much evidence that the prosecution's way of telling the defense checkmate. Ooh, that's how these big-headed lawyers work. It's a game of flexing. Tearing down the house is a flex. Yeah, I agree to a point. It is. Yeah, neither side is arguing not to tear it down, which is interesting. But the ultimate choice is, for, as we know, what is it? I forget his name, but the university. So, but thank you so much, Tom. Huge supporter of this channel. But yeah, it is interesting that neither one. Let's see here. We got Camille. Oh my goodness! For the best awesome mods ever, wasn't a 4-foot assassination? Wasn't a 4-foot assassination that shot Paul? Said the defense. Yeah, the 4-foot. Yeah, the 4-foot people. I guess they forgot that you can hold a gun, at multiple levels. I guess they're thinking we all hold a gun at one level and we can't raise or lower our guns. Great point, and thank you so much. That'll be a huge help towards the stuff that we're sending the mods. So thank you so much. That is very sweet. Sensei Wackadoodle. Hello, Chris and mods. Looking forward to the show tonight. Interesting stuff. Thanks for all you do. Amazing crew. Yes, like I said, I still got the big thing I'm going to show you guys for here that are here for the Idaho. I discovered some more interesting stuff. Lone Pony, thank you, mods. $10 for the mods. Thank you so much, Lone Pony. You were so awesome. So, like I said, one more time, mods. I will be getting with you guys tomorrow, because after the show, I'm going to have to take a nap, because I've been working on this this audio thing for quite a bit. So one last thing I wanted to talk about with the demolition, where I think this is a huge no-no, is I noticed some people, I know not everybody's on the same side when it comes to Bryan Kohberger. We completely understand, we just ask you to be respectful. If your view is different from somebody else's in chat, we're all adults. We can agree to disagree. I think, some of the comments I see in Twitter and other places, they say, well, how could one guy be able to go into a place he's never been and be able to do this in 12 minutes? And really, if you look at it, that's why I think it is kind of important to have this house is, so here's kind of here's just a quick walkthrough, virtual. It's not the real walkthrough, but, this house isn't a mansion. Yes, it's 3 floors, but he came in on the second and he only explored the 2 floors. So, and it is interesting that he went right for the upstairs. So really, to me, in my opinion, I would not be surprised if at one point Bryan Kohberger had been in that house in a prior party, somehow showed up, that would not surprise me one bit. Or, considering, with criminology, he looked up this house. Obviously anybody could have looked up the realty website. You could see this kind of floor plan. Obviously not like this, but you would still be able to know the floor plan. So there's many ways this guy could have done some research and knew. And then obviously, if you believe it was Bryan Kohberger, clearly, according to the PC affidavit, his phone showed up at least on 11 occasions before this. So it seems like, in my opinion, he was doing his homework. But, so just a quick tour of this, and then we'll get over to the audio. Kohberger. I almost said something. Denise says he could have been there. Definitely. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, he arrived sometime late May, June, somewhere around there. He turned his phone on in June, so I'm assuming just around that time. So he had 5 months to do a lot of research. But just to look at the floor plan here, and then we'll get onto the audio. But like I said, I've seen a few comments mention how could a person, traverse this 3-story house, but 3-floor house, but it's certainly no mansion, and it's really not that big of a house. I mean, it's a decent size, but it's just a house. And considering he only explored 2 floors that we know of, to me it seems like it wouldn't be, especially if he was there before. And assuming if it was Kohberger, he sounds like a person that would kind of know, that would do his homework. For Huskies, do you think he was after something kept on the property and not the girls? I don't. I think there was a target, and it was one of the girls. And then sadly, you got 2 girls that were in bed. So one of those 2 were the target. And unfortunately, everybody else was collateral damage. That's just my opinion. Could be completely wrong, but that's just to me. Sadly, one was the target, and it's just terrible, the circumstances. Especially, with like Xana, with her being on the phone and being up at 4:12 and being on TikTok. I think really it was going to be possibly one target. The fact that he sounds like he went into Kaylee's room could mean that he was she could have been the target. So this just another recreation. I didn't do this. I can't take credit. I'll put credit in the description. This was done by TikTok at AZGET, so credit to them. I'll make sure to give them credit in the description there. They put this out many months ago. But yeah, I think as he came downstairs, I know I've explained this before, but I think as he came downstairs, I think Xana was probably somewhere in between the kitchen and her bedroom, was on the phone, and him seeing her on the phone, clearly probably freaked him out, and sadly had to take care of the threat. And then unfortunately she runs back to Ethan, and just more collateral damage, which is just absolutely terrible. Sandra says they should put some trees and park benches at a memorial. I'm sure they'll definitely do a memorial. Definitely deserved. Okay, so on to the audio. Let me get caught up in chat, and then I've got some new stuff. If you're here Friday, awesome. I'll got some new things. If you weren't, I'll kind of recap some of those. Let me see what time it is. Okay, 5:30. We're running good. We got a half hour to go. Alan says, appreciate the mods and your hard work. Thank you so much, Alan, for the $10 and supporting our mods. Thank you so much for everything, buddy. And of course, to everybody that's in here, taking the time out of the day, watch this show. If you can, please hit that like button. It really helps this channel out. So what we have here, just in case you weren't here Friday, this is the Linda Lane footage. I'll just go over the background of it just a little bit. This got in the hands of 2 people. I forget the exact way it happened, but it was in the hands of 2 people. They kind of held on to it for a while. And then from what I understand, they eventually leaked it, or not leaked it, but they eventually shared it with a third party. And then that third party ended up sharing it on the internet. And then it got leaked out. So there are 2 videos. There's one from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. And then there's one from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. Now, obviously, we believe from the PC affidavit, we believe the incident happened between 4:08 and 4:20, according to the PC affidavit. But what I did is I went back and I enhanced the audio, but I had noticed and heard some things, and we can hear vehicles in the background, and I was trying to figure out where's that vehicle noise coming from. You know, we don't see anything here. For anybody who's wondering what we're looking at that's never seen this, there is a camera. So here is the Idaho student home right here. Let me clear this real quick. Move that over. Here's the Idaho student home. We got these two big buildings, which is called Queen Road Apartments. Next to that is the Linda Lane, I think, apartments. I believe they're apartments. And they actually have two cameras. They have one that's kind of pointed down Ave. There's been some screenshots leaked out and a small clip from that camera. But the big one is this camera that's pointed this way, which kind of points to this little parking lot area here. And we see the suspect vehicle drive around. He drives around this approximately 5 different times. And so that's what we're looking at. So if you guys remember on the affidavit, it says that the DoorDash driver arrived at approximately 4 p.m. or 4 a.m. We hear a sound of a vehicle approaching. So I think that is Kohberger. So Kohberger, I forgot to mention, at 3:57, he was just here and circled around. I think that's Kohberger leaving. He's going down Taylor Avenue. So this is what you're hearing. And I've got more weight to this theory that if you guys were here Friday, I notice you'll hear another vehicle. They have one going almost, and then another one coming, which in my opinion is the DoorDash driver. So I'm going to skip this forward real quick and just show you where I think this audio is coming from, and then we'll go back to the DoorDash driver, but I'll show you why I think the sound is coming from Taylor Avenue. So this is a circle around where the camera's at. You'll notice it reaches the Taylor Ave Road well before the 1112 King Road. I think there's too much obstruction to the west to really hear much vehicles. So the vehicles that we're hearing, in my opinion, and I have more evidence to, or not evidence, but some things that I broke down to add more weight to this theory, which will be able to tell us a lot. This is cool seeing it in real time. Yes, I've got more. I'm really excited to show you guys what I saw. What I did to solidify more of this theory is I remembered that there was the body cam footage. You guys remember the body cam footage? It's usually called the Banfield footage with the two officers not arresting, but giving tickets to the underage drinkers. Well, that they get there about like 2:45, and then they're there till like 3:16. I think the clip stops at like 3:15. So there are approximately, at least from 3, because remember our Linda Lane footage starts at 3 a.m. There is actually another vehicle before 3 a.m. that we see go by, but obviously I can't use that because we don't have the audio from that from the Linda Lane. So there's 3 vehicles from 3 a.m. to 314 that passed by while the officers are out here. So I thought it would be very interesting to see when those vehicles drive by, do they show up at around the same time as the Linda Lane footage, which would solidify my theory that the vehicles we're hearing are coming down Taylor Avenue. And check this out. So we have a truck pass by at exactly 3 minutes and 49 seconds. And they are heading east on Taylor Ave, so they're kind of going away.
Be issuing.
So here goes that truck.
Copy. I'll bring him over and write out one myself. All right, guys. Come on.
So in theory, if my theory's correct, we should be able to hear that on Linda Lane at around that same time. There's another car at 312 that passes by.
I'm not going to say I didn't drink in college. I did.
Now going
but I can go
east.
staggering around the middle of the roadway afterwards. So, not saying you're a bad person or anything, but there's a way to do it, obviously, and there's a way to do it not, obviously.
So now I put those together and to see if we can hear that truck, because obviously we're going to hear it a little bit before it's going to show up. And I don't think the time, because I was looking up, when it comes to times, especially when they're down to the seconds, not all of them are exact. So you got to keep that in mind as well. But as you can see, I have the times almost lined up here. But keep in mind, you're going to hear probably the truck first, because obviously we're going to hear Taylor Avenue because it's coming from to the right, heading west. And check it out. So that truck. Oh. So that truck, keep in mind that truck is going, it's going east. And so that would take a minute for it to appear on this, because, it'd take a minute for him to, because he's driving. They're about right here, so he's driving it, and I think the audio's picking up somewhere about right here. The camera's right here, so I think we're picking up the audio. And in my opinion, let me know what you guys think. It lines pretty darn close up. You see the truck go by. And we hear the vehicle. So now, the other way around. Vehicle coming the other way, which is west, so which means we're going to hear on this first before this. Now keep in mind the audio we're hearing is from the actual Linda Lane footage. This video is completely turned down, but you'll notice we're going to hear the vehicle and then see the vehicle. There's the vehicle, because keep in mind it's coming from the other way, so we'd hear the sound first and then we would see the car. So in my opinion, that is the audio that we're hearing is from Taylor Ave, and there's even more to go with this theory. So we know that Bryan or suspect vehicle 1 approaches 5 different times. And if my theory is right, we can kind of get an idea of where he is coming from before he shows up on the camera. And then is he taking Taylor Avenue when he's exiting, or is he taking Wallanta Drive, which we wouldn't be able to hear anything? And so here is obviously 329. He's going to be shown at 331. So this is the first time he's arriving. And check it out. There's almost a perfect 2-minute gap. Oh, thank you, Joe. So I know I have a red car, but that's... So just think that is the suspect vehicle. I know I have it red. I just didn't get a time to change it to the white one. So then obviously he would have to, drive, turn down this street. He would have to go up Queen Road. So it'd take a minute. Maybe he's slowing down to pass in front of 1122 King Road. Shortly, in just a few seconds. Here comes the car. And that lines up because remember the first time he comes, he's spotted on Steiner Ave. So we know he's coming from the east, heading west onto. So here's his first pass. And then if you time it almost perfectly, 2 minutes later, we hear a vehicle. Theory means that time after he left, he took Taylor Ave. Then one more time. 2 minutes before he's spotted on at 357, we hear a car. And sure enough, 2 minutes later, we have his car. I don't know, with the black truck. I need your court. Thank you. Okay. Then we're gonna skip it for those that might have missed Thursday. Okay, so remember we just saw him at 357. So keep in mind, we just saw him at 357, so I'm going to go back right here. And just like clockwork, almost 2 minutes later, a little bit less, two vehicles. I think that's him going back down Taylor Avenue. And the second car we hear is the DoorDash driver now approaching. So this is what you'd be hearing. That's him. Now I'm going to go probably circle around that 8-minute neighborhood. And now we have the DoorDash driver. What do we hear just after that possible DoorDash driver's vehicle? You hear 2 car beeps. So if someone's locking the car. And something we can deduce is I looked at this footage. I checked to see if I could see anybody walking around. I checked to see if I could see any lights going off. I don't think that's coming from this parking lot, which really deduces that it's none of these vehicles here. It's certainly possible it could be coming from one of these vehicles, and I could be completely wrong. But, I mean, we don't see a vehicle arriving or anything. And so I think it's a good possibility that car alarm lock coming from the DoorDash driver. And so we timed it. They'd be locking their car because they just got out. They would deliver the food at the back porch. And now he's coming back, or they. Unlocking the car, and those 2 beeps, we put them together, they're identical sounds, so that's definitely the same car. And shortly after, what do we hear? Vehicle again. So in my opinion, from just doing my research, I think what we're hearing, the little airplane noise, I think is coming from Taylor Avenue. That's the closest. If you were to do, a 360 radius and you expand it out, the first thing it's going to touch would be the Taylor Avenue. And I think to the west of this building, you've got the 2 Queen Road apartments, which would obviously block a lot of sound. I could see the car alarm lock probably getting through because I could see it kind of echoing through this little alley here that it would be picked up. I could be wrong, but the timing, it is all kind of right there. I could be completely off, but a lot of things add up. But what's interesting, and I'm still looking into this, because if we can deduce that this is what we're hearing is vehicles driving back and forth on Taylor Avenue, because I haven't had enough time, because I'm still researching this. is every time we see the suspect vehicle or Kohberger, wherever you stand, we can get an idea of, did he take Taylor Avenue every time he came back out and he was circling around? Or at one point, did he go the other way and we won't hear, usually 2 minutes after we see the vehicle, do we not hear the vehicle? Which means he would then took Walenta Drive. So that's what I'm going to be researching next. But yeah, I think it adds a lot of interesting insight that we can take from just some audio cues, and that's from just my research. That's what I've discovered. Obviously, I encourage you to do your own research. This is all theory, of course, just breaking down with what we have. One of the things I always mention is, if anyone's not, because I know not everybody's familiar with DoorDash. DoorDash drivers are not there to mingle around. They get paid to get in and get out. And I'm sure at that time in the morning, at 4 a.m., it's super cold. And all they do is drop off the food. They'll drop it right off in the front door or back door if you have special instructions. They'll take a picture of it. So that way, that's kind of insurance for them. And then from there, they're back to the car and they're taking the next order and they're out of there. So, so that DoorDash driver would only be there for, a minute less. And that's from my experience as well when I used to deal with DoorDash. They just show up. Usually if I knew they were coming, I'd be nice enough to walk out to, their car that way, because I know time is money. Exactly, Purple Puddles. Time is money to them, yeah. They get paid to make deliveries, so the more deliveries, the more money they're going to make. So, but yeah, that's kind of what I deduced. What time is it? 5:53. Wish we could go a little bit longer and answer some more questions. Usually I kind of spend some time with the chat. Steve from True Crime Web's going to be starting in 6 minutes, and some of my mods, they mod for his channel, so I wanted to make sure that I finished up before he started. Also, if anyone's, if you haven't, please hit the like button if you haven't already. That really helps the channel get out there. But if you want to learn more about Idaho Student 4 case, up next is Steve from True Crime Web. If you stay in this chat at right on the dot, right on the hour, it will direct you over to his channel. Steve from True Crime Web, he is former law enforcement. He worked in forensics. He is amazing. Got great insight. A lot of experiments that we have done. He's done a bunch of experiments, even just in this case. But with the Murdoch case, he's done an amazing job. So if you're new, go check it out, especially because, like I said, he's going to be covering Idaho tonight. So all you have to do is just stay in this chat and it'll direct you over right on the hour there. So one last time, we have 5 minutes. One more time, if you haven't, and if you'd like to donate, part of those proceeds will go to our mods that we're giving out some gifts to. So I usually don't ask for donations because I figure, if they come in, that's awesome. I know not everybody can afford them, but there are many different ways to support this channel through Patreon, PayPal. But Christina, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Happy Saturday. Gifted 1 Mob Crew membership. Thank you so much, Christina. Always gifted memberships. That's very sweet of her. And yeah, that's right. DoorDash, yeah, they don't see, yeah, they do, yeah, they're not required to see the person, the homeowner. They just drop the food off and they'll take a picture of it in front of the house. That's their insurance, just in case if somebody claims they didn't get their food. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But I wish I could recap a few things because, you know, I thought it was really interesting to break down the body cam footage and realize that we can actually hear the audio. I'll play that one more time. But you can clearly hear that truck as it just passed. So with my theory possibly being on the right track, that means we could probably learn some more about when Kohberger arrives or suspect vehicle when arrives, and then, you know, when he's leaving, because obviously he comes and goes a bunch of times. Is he going back down Taylor Avenue or is he going down Walenta Drive? Because then obviously we wouldn't be able to hear anything. So there are definitely some commonalities, some coincidences, whatever you want to call them, when listening to it and when he's arriving. But I'm going to be breaking that down. So I'm going to have a part 3 to this, which will be a culmination of everything, which I'm really excited for. We'll probably do on Monday. So, and I'm sorry I couldn't get to more comments, guys. I had to kind of run through this show because, unfortunately, my buddy starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, so I had to kind of run through. Riddler, Mob Crew, outstanding synopsis, and it appears you did your homework. Thank you so much, Riddler. That means so much. You have no idea. I spent a lot of hours putting shows together. Of course, I am just a human being. I make errors. I'm not right all the time. And I could even be wrong. Who knows? But it's just a theory. And I hope you enjoyed that theory. Lucky Phil, gifted 5 Mob Crew memberships. That is so awesome. Thank you so much, Lucky Phil. That is so cool. And Purple Puddles, another new member, $5 donation. Thank you so much. You guys are so sweet. We have the best community ever. Marge, $10 donation. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Part of that's going to go to our wonderful mods who create such a great community. So we got 1 minute left. I am going to say goodbye. Like I said, if you stay in this chat, you will be directed over to Steve's show, and he's covering Idaho4. Jocelyn says, I love being part of this channel. Thank you so much, Jocelyn. I'll be getting a hold of you mods tomorrow. So thank you guys. I love you guys so much. I'm sorry I couldn't get to more comments, but we got to finish up so we can let others do their thing. So thank you guys so much. You guys have been amazing. I know not everybody's on the same page when it comes to Bryan Kohberger, but I think we all agree that we want justice for the Idaho4. Thank you, Camilla. Another gifted Mob Crew membership. And Truffles for the $2 donation. You guys are awesome. I got to end the show so I can make sure you guys get switched over. So